Hey guys, it's Izzy here, and today I'm going to be doing my book haul for May on my brand new camera. So let me know what you guys think of the quality of this video, sound, visual effect, and all of that. Let me know in the comments because it's a new camera for like the first time and basically the entirety of this channel, so I am kind of nervous. But let's get into showing you all the books that I got this month. So we're gonna go from like the first purchase of the month and then bring it to the most recent. So in my hauls, I don't give a synopsis of the book, but stick around on my channel, subscribe if you will, because they'll be in future videos when I read them. So we have, the first one was a pre-order that is Gone, a search, stuff on it. A Search for What Remains of the World's Extinct Creatures by Michael Blenko. I got cookie dough on it, apparently, when I was making cookies because I had it on the kitchen table, but I think I got most of that off. So it said what it's about. So this doesn't have a dust jacket, and I always like that when hardbacks don't have dust jackets because I think it makes it look kind of old-timey. But the quality of this book is really nice. You couldn't see that, but it has illustrations throughout of these animals and all, so I think this should be a really interesting read, and that is a nonfiction. So the two are vintage from my grandmother. So we have first, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I have read The Old Man and the Sea by him in high school, which like none of us enjoyed, but I think reading him now, I would have a different perspective than when I was 15. These are from like the 50s, and my cat's tail is hitting me. So then we have For Whom the Bells Toll, which y'all know that's a common phrase on my channel. And again, by Ernest Hemingway. So I always quote the Metallica song, and apparently Cliff Burton was inspired by this book to write that song. So this should be really interesting to read, and that instantly when I found out that the song was inspired by this book, I was like, I want to read it. There's several songs that are inspired by books where I want to read the books behind a song that I love and just see the connection. So then we have our book of the month choices, and my choice for May was Imposter Syndrome by Kathy Wang. This is like a thriller in Silicon Valley. You can kind of see on the back how it is like in Northern California. So I like these technology thrillers. The Silence of Six I really enjoyed. So if you have like high-tech technology thrillers, let me know because I am liking that. So then I chose a historical fiction because that's like my favorite genre. And this is Circling the Sun by Paula McLean. I think this could be based on a true story. Is it? I don't see. Oh, yeah, maybe it is. So I'm just gonna read the opening line. Brought to Kenya from England as a child and then abandoned by her mother. And it's raised by an African tribe. And I think she's a female aviator, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what drew me in because I am an av geek. I love aviation, but I hate flying. Funny, I know. So that should be fun to read about aviation. So in May, I made my return to Barnes & Noble for the first time since March of 2020. In March, I was out in Arizona. So the last time I was at this location in South Carolina was in February. So it had been a while. I was glad to see some of the same workers were there and all of that. So this was my first time since the pandemic, and I kind of went crazy, but this is only one more than I usually buy, and I got that by accident, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So we'll start with this bag. So I have two thrillers, and they're actually by the same author, and I didn't realize that. So first, this one y'all have probably heard about, My Best Friend's Exorcism, and the author, Grady Hendrick. And this is like in the 80s, and I think it's cool how this like looks like a VHS tape. So that's that book. hopefully it doesn't scare me too much because I don't like demon stuff, but I am getting better where I'm better at reading. Like, I could never watch a Paranormal Activity movie or something. That would be too much for me. But reading, it's like I can more register that it's fake than when I'm seeing something. So then the next one is We Sold Our Souls. I don't like this cover because I don't like real people on covers of books. No offense to her. She looks cool. And this is by Grady and Jerk again, but it's kind of like a Rolling Stone magazine looking. Oh, it's raised. So this is about a band who, in a heavy metal band in the 90s, sold their souls to the devil to get fame. And then it's just going to present day as well, of how that kind of corrupted their lives. So heavy metal drew me in. So the rest of that bag is not stuff for YouTube. So let's move on to our second bag here from Barnes & Noble. So these are all, no, they're not all, but they're all like historical related. So our first one, this was actually the first book that I picked up, is a Russian nonfiction history novel, and that is on Nicholas and Alexandra, the classic account of the fall of the Romanov dynasty by Robert K. Massey. So he is a Pulitzer Prize winning author of Catherine the Great, which that is something that I would want to read as well. So this is They Were the Last Tsar and Tsarina of Russia. I think he was so good looking. It's probably so weird of me to say, but he was good looking. And I think the Romanovs are very interesting. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen the movie Anastasia, which is obviously fictionalized, but for the purpose of making a children's movie, just that kind of gives you a basis, I guess, and that's probably where my interest stemmed from, was seeing that movie as a kid. So Russian history, and if you don't know when this takes place, it's when they were killed was like 1918, I'm pretty sure. So we have that. Then let's take things over to England. I have been watching The Crown lately, so that made me pick up Wallace and Love, The Untold Life of the Duchess of Windsor, The Woman Who Changed the Monarchy by Andrew Mordaunt. So this should be very fascinating because I didn't know much about Wallace Simpson. Like, I knew the basics, but not much past that. I was really curious to know where she was from, but she was from Baltimore, and Baltimore is an area where I go like every year except 2020 for obvious reasons. So it's one of my favorite places, so that's kind of fascinating that she's from there. I thought another thing that was interesting, and you know how nonfiction books have the pictures? None of the pictures of her being a Nazi sympathizer, but I'm sure it's going to talk about that. Yeah, so I think this should be very interesting to read about, because Wallace Simpson is somebody who was a very controversial figure in history. So knowing about her and maybe why she did some of the things that she did should be interesting. So our last nonfiction is taking us down to Spain, and that is Isabella, the Warrior Queen by Kirsten Downey. So Isabella, I watched The Spanish Princess a few months ago, and obviously she is Catherine of Aragon's mother, and Catherine of Aragon is the Spanish princess. So if you didn't know, Isabella was married to Ferdinand. They funded Columbus's trip to America. We're not getting into Christopher Columbus here, but I'm just saying one of her claim to fames. But she was a queen regnant, and that means our modern Queen Elizabeth is a queen regnant, where she's ruling all in her own right. If you are a regent, that means their kid isn't old enough to be on the throne, so she is just kind of in charge. And then a queen consort, that is, Prince Philip was a prince consort, so it's just being the wife of the ruler. So she was a regnant, though. She was ruling all in her own right and everything, and I think she is like a feminist icon, personally. So that is the last history book that I got. I could have bought everything, but the hardbacks seem to have gone up $5 in price to like $40, and there were so many that I wanted, but I was like, I cannot justify spending $40 on a book. I am a member there, so I do get a discount, but still, I can't justify spending that much money on a book. So this is the book that I picked up by accident. I was walking around with all these other books and sat them down on a table while I was looking through some of the other books. Picked this one up with the rest, and that is The Wartime Sisters by Linda Cohen Logman. This is set in Brooklyn during World War II, I'm guessing. I mean, the front looks like it would be that era. So Brooklyn is a fascinating setting, and I was thinking earlier, it's probably my favorite borough in New York City, even though I hadn't gone to it till fairly recently, like in the last decade. Yeah, so Brooklyn should be a fun setting. Yeah, so those are all of the books that I got in May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope the quality with this camera all turns out all right. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and to mention that book For Whom the Bells Toll. Ring that notification bell if you want to be one of the first to know when I upload a video on this channel. And I will see you guys at Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, guys!